My name is Will Simmons, if that matters. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't anymore, I don't know. I guess if anyone sees this and knows me, or knows of me, maybe it matters. Hell, who am I kidding? No one's gonna read this. Hell, maybe there's nobody left to read this and I'm just sending this out on the net to get lost between all the other junk. But maybe. I guess I should start at the beginning. I was born on a clear spring day. Okay, maybe not that far back. Sorry if you're reading this, but I'm scared to death and it's like, what is it they call it? A defense mechanism. Something like that. Anyway, ignore that because what's going on, it isn't funny. Not in the least. Not for anyone who isn't psychopath crazy anyway. And I don't think I'm there yet. So, not to be cliche, but the day, I suppose I should clarify, I have no idea how long it's been since all of this happened. More than a day, but other than that, I don't really know. I'll explain more later, but for now, just go with it. The day started off like any other. I woke up, took a shower, looked at some stuff on the internet, ate breakfast, well, Pop-Tarts, but that still counts, right? And got ready to go out. Not that I really had anywhere to go. Not with this damn quarantine on. Thanks to the jerks who don't know how to wash their hands or not go someplace unless they had to. So it's not like I was going out for fun, but I did need to make a grocery run for supplies. And like I usually do, I stopped by the gas station near my house to grab a fountain drink since they're cheap, and I'm usually broke, so it's a good combo. While I was there, I thought I'd run to the bathroom since it was usually clean and I just needed to pee anyway. They're pretty good about letting you do that as long as you don't take too long or leave it in a mess. So I went in, did what I needed to do, and started to wash my hands. That's when it happened. That's when the lights flickered. Okay, so it sounds silly, I know, something so minor being what set me off. But the lights flickered, off, and then back on for just a second, and all the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. It was like that feeling you get when you open the basement door and stare down, that moment of tension and anxiety and plain old fear. That feeling shot through me, and I dropped the paper towel I was using to dry my hands on the floor because it was so sudden and shocking. Like I said, I know that sounds silly, but in that moment, I was more afraid than I'd ever been in my life. Well, more afraid than I had ever been before now. So, anyway, after I stood there for a second, I said out loud, because that was supposed to help, I guess, "All right, stop being an idiot, pick up the paper towel, and go on with your day." So I did. Well, I picked up the paper towel anyway, threw it away, unlocked the door, and couldn't go any further for a moment. I couldn't seem to make myself pull on the handle to open the door and leave. Call it instinct, call it sixth sense, call it whatever you want, but I couldn't do it. I just stood there. Had to be at least 2 or 3 minutes before I summoned the courage, thanks to a few names I called myself out loud again, and opened the door onto pitch blackness. Like total and complete, nothing visible at all. It reminded me of videos I've seen of people who go down in caves and talk about not being able to see their hand in front of their face. Except this felt even more than that. It was like the darkness, had sucked up all the light. Which doesn't make sense, I know, but that's what it felt like. I know the gas station had windows, and it had been bright, sunshine outside when I went in. There was nothing. I felt like the guy in Poe's poem, The Raven. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. I don't know how long I actually stood there or when I first became aware of the sound, but I gradually noticed that I could hear something moving around. Moving towards me. I still couldn't see, but I could hear it. A dull thumping mixed with a strange sort of sticky sound, like someone walking through mud. Not a sound I'd ever heard before, and certainly not one I would have expected to hear in a gas station. I tried to see what was causing it, but it was pointless. Then I remembered that, hey, I have a nice bright flashlight on my phone. I pulled it out and turned it on, and nothing. I mean, it did nothing at all. I couldn't see 2 inches outside of the bathroom with light. It was like the light was being sucked up. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was terrifying, to be blunt. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I couldn't see anything, and then the thumping sound stopped. I was relieved, very relieved, but of course that didn't last long, because now, instead of the thumping, I started to hear a skittering sound. A bunch of them, like insects or something, running across the floor. Only, it wasn't just coming from the ground. It was coming from every direction, and it was headed towards me. I jumped back and slammed the door, locked it, and stood there literally with my mouth open, barely breathing, and my arms limp at my side. The only thing I could think of was, what the hell? What the hell? Everything else was just a wash. I couldn't concentrate, couldn't form any coherent thought, couldn't even begin to try to piece together what was going on. Part of me wanted to unlock the door, step out, and run as fast as I could towards where I remembered the front door being. In fact, my hand was on the handle and the lock when I came to my senses and realized that was exactly the worst possible thing to do. And in confirmation, I heard the thumping, sucking sound again, closer now than it was before. I don't think I ever backed away from something that fast in my life. I backed all the way to the other wall, slid down, and stayed there. That was, well, like I said, I don't know how long ago. More than a day, but beyond that I couldn't tell you. There's no window in here, so the only way I know the days are passing is the time on my phone. Even that's not reliable, because I would swear that sometimes I'll look at it, look up for a second, then look back down, and it'll be showing hours later. Or earlier. So who knows the actual time or date? It doesn't matter anyway. I've tried texting everyone I could think of. My mom, my friends, even Janice, though I knew she probably wouldn't respond to me anyway. That's how it had gone with us, why it had ended. She decided I wasn't worth talking to, so she didn't. But nobody else responded either. I don't know if they even got my messages. I don't know if they're even alive, or if whatever is out there in that store is wherever they are too. Maybe I'm the only one left, and this bathroom is the only safe haven. Maybe no one else will ever see this. I can't seem to get a call to be picked up, to the police, or 911, or anyone else. Everything just rings and rings until it either disconnects or goes to voicemail. So I'm posting it as many places online as I can, though I don't know if that will do any good. Nothing seems to be updating. All the links work and I can still go to places online, but everything's static. No new stuff being posted. Maybe everyone else is dead. Lucky them. Thankfully, I had my phone charger in my pocket so I can keep it charged and surf the net or listen to music. Otherwise, I'd go crazy. Though, I noticed that whenever I plug in, the skittering sound comes back. Not in the bathroom, but from everywhere else. I guess they, whatever they are attracted to the electricity. Hell if I know. I do my best to block them out with my earbuds, but the sound creeps through anyway. I'm always relieved when I can stop charging. There's water still from the faucet, though I'm not thrilled about drinking it. But there's no food, of course. I'll probably starve to death eventually, if I make it that long. The lights occasionally flicker, and every time I hold my breath, wondering if this time they won't come back on. Wondering what happens if they don't. Knowing, but trying to deny what happens when they don't. I can't even make a break for it if I wanted to. The thumping, sucking sounds are right outside the door. Sounds like dozens or even more of them out there. Whatever it is, or they are, there's no way I could get through them. And even if I did, there's no telling what's actually out there now. Maybe the whole world is like that. Dark forever. Or maybe it's bright day and I'm the only one trapped in some little corner of hell. Or maybe I'm just batshit insane and none of this is really happening. I don't think that's it. The way I feel, the fear I feel, it's too deep, too present, too real. Whatever's going on, I'm in the middle of it. I can't do anything but sit and wait. If you see this, if there's anyone to see this, come find me. Help me if you can. The lights just flickered again, and they took longer to come back on this time. I can hear the thumping louder every time it happens, and I can't take the skittering sounds of whatever those things are trying to find me for much longer. Please help. Please.